Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. And, of course, taped live at the twitch.tv/Steven Larson. This coming Sunday, we're going to be watching GCW's Hammerstein show, which looks to be a lot of fun. Do you see they added some sort of grab the... I don't know what's fake or real. Like the little... so much of what they're doing is like silly shots at WWE. Like I saw some sort of grab the brass ring challenge, but that might have been a joke now that I think about it.
No, I think that was the name of the ladder match.
Is that the ladder match?
Yeah.
Grab the brass ring? I saw this great video promo from Atticus Cogar yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, you've got this silly Joey Janela, Zack Ryder stuff. He was like, 440 did so much to bring GCW where they are, and where are we on the show? Like, there's so many people on that show that are like, wait, but they're GCW. They're not, but they're in this grab the brass ring thing. It should be a lot of fun. It should be really cool to see GCW go to this next level. It will be kind of interesting to see where they take themselves into the future. Are they going to bring in like Grand Metalik?
Yeah, he's announced for some shows,
is announced for some shows. It's going to be interesting to see where GCW goes, because I think they're at a real inflection point, if you will.
Yes.
Where they're going to be making some decisions about what they're going to look like in the future. But yeah, this Sunday should be a lot of fun. The show looks really
it looks like it's going to be an absolute blast. Looking forward to it. Definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah. We're going to talk about last night's very talky edition of Monday Night Raw. But first, of course, we've got a little bit of news from the world of wrestling. Larson, what's up first?
First up, I don't know if you noticed this, Steve. I assume you watch Raw, but Finn Balor, he lost to Austin Theory last night. And following that loss, WrestlingNews.co was told by a source that apparently Vince basically given up on Finn Balor. This is what WrestlingNews.co had to say. Per their source, quote, "Yeah, Finn was moved to that spot that Jeff Hardy had. He's just there now to help get over the younger guys. There was a pitch to make him heel, but that was weeks ago, and I haven't heard much about it since then." Vince never saw Finn as more than just a mid-card guy. Heyman would have pushed him to the moon, but Vince just never saw it. Austin Theory is going to get time to shine in the Rumble match. Last I heard was he'll be in the final 4 or 5 at the end of the match.
Yeah, Vince seems to really love Austin Theory. I think he's sort of obviously his project. Like, Vince doesn't like being on TV, from what we've heard.
Yes.
And he's on TV exclusively to sort of guide.
And based on his performances of late, with good reason, that he should not want to be on TV because...
Yeah, they're weird, awkward. He should not be on TV.
No.
But yeah, and I'll be honest, this is not terribly surprising about Finn Balor either. Well, I think there was a spell where Vince has sort of been good with Finn, but like by and large, it always seemed a bit on the fleeting side. I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, so I had heard that Finn lost last night before watching that particular bout. And so I couldn't help but notice when Finn came out, I know he's been off TV for a while to sell the effects of the beatdown. Like, it looks like he hadn't gotten a haircut in a while. Like, he walked out, he kind of had loose posture.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, all right. Something tells me that things aren't going as swimmingly as they were in NXT for Fergal.
Hunter's gone. Hunter's gone. He was my guy. And now he's gone.
I mean, he's just come off doing, without a doubt, the best work of his WWE career during his last run in NXT. I thought the matches he was putting on were fantastic. I thought the character stuff, it wasn't Prince Devitt. It wasn't Bullet Club Prince Devitt. It's probably the closest we're ever going to get to that character in WWE.
Yeah, true.
And I thought he was doing really fun, interesting stuff at NXT. And he was brought back up, and it was a question of, well, are they going to continue with that through line for Finn, or is he going to go back to being Smiling Finn? Of course, he went back to being Smiling Finn. Yeah. Because apparently Vince or whatever just doesn't know how to utilize his talents, which if you just watch NXT, they're right there. It's clear as day. Dude could be a main eventer.
Yeah, I know, man. But like Vince, especially like as his age advances, you can tell he's going back to his old, well, there got to be giant jacked machines.
It's like with the revamp of NXT. You know, he's going back to the mindset that brought him and WWE to this level they're at now.
Yeah, right.
And it seems like, unfortunately, wrestlers like Finn are going to be kind of left on the wayside in terms of pushing talent, if this is to be believed. You know,
I mean, even going way back to when Finn won the first Universal Championship, had he not been injured during that match, I kind of feel didn't we hear at some point that he was going to lose to Brock not that long after, like, I don't know, that was what, SummerSlam, so probably at the Rumble, I would imagine. So I don't know, man. Yeah, I just don't think that WWE is the place for guy. I mean, Finn is firmly a Triple H guy, and I just think that it's just sort of not the place for Triple H guys, with the exception of like Seth Rollins, who's also a Triple H guy, I feel. And Kevin Owens too, yeah. And Kevin Owens too. Although I don't know if Kevin Owens is going to be sniffing the main event scene at any time soon. He might. I could be wrong about that. Vince has always liked Kevin Owens a bit better than Finn Balor. You could tell that. Like he let him actually headbutt him back in 2017. So yeah. I mean, this is disappointing. Not terribly surprising.
No, it's not surprising.
I was always super skeptical that there was any idea that Finn was going to take over the Drew McIntyre spot anyways. Like, I know WrestleVotes had said that, but I was sort of doubtful of that, just because, like, there's no history of that. There's no indication that would be the case. Drew's big jack dude, you know? So yeah. I mean, that's just what they want in WWE, big jack dudes.
Yep.
Anyways.
Let's move on. Let's talk to Cody, of course. Talk about Cody. Of course,
we can talk to Cody. We got Cody on the line today.
Yeah,
Cody
call up Cody.
Hello, sir.
So yesterday we talked about a report from Fightful Select that Cody was a free agent. But on the latest Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer might have offered up an explanation as to why Cody doesn't have a new deal with AEW. And these transcripts are from Wrestle Talk. Steve, do you want to take these?
I would love to.
You want to do it in your Dave voice?
The Cody Rhodes rumors. I mean, I'm sure at this point, given that nobody has, been denying them. Sorry. Anyways, so the Cody rumors. He says, I'm sure at this point, given that nobody has been denying them, that they actually want it out like this. But there's nothing of substance to the story in the sense that he's got a reality show, he's got a game show. He was just in touch with me the other day about the ratings of his game show. Very happy with those ratings. He's an executive vice president. He may not have signed his contract because he hasn't been there. Essentially, he was supposed to go January 5th to Newark, and he actually went to Newark, but he had to fly home because that's when there was a family health issue, and he had to go home. So he's not been to an AEW show yet this year. The first one will be Wednesday, end quote, where this is where Steve picks up, where I'm sure Cody will get on the mic and make a big-ass deal about him signing a new contract and being the future of All Elite Wrestling. Do you think that's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, that's more or less what I said yesterday was probably going to happen. There's probably truth to him not having a new deal. Does it mean anything? No, but that's not to say they won't use it for story purposes if they see a way to do so.
Yeah.
We didn't, in assuming, Dave seems pretty in tune with what's going on in AEW.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally says here that he talked to Cody, So,
I just talked to him.
If the situation is Cody hasn't signed a new deal because he hasn't been around to sign a new deal, maybe he actually hasn't been around to sign a new deal. I don't know. But if that's all there is to it, it's fun to speculate about stuff happening. But, at the same time, sometimes just things like this happen where someone has to work without a deal just simply because, the world intervenes.
The opportunity didn't come up for them to put pen to paper.
Exactly.
Like, you and I have done plenty of e-signing documents, but I would imagine that there's some situations where you just want to be there. He's an EVP. This is a big deal. So, why not? Anyways.
Can we talk about all this more, for another, I don't know what, 40 minutes, so we have to talk about Raw?
We got to talk about Raw, man.
I'm going to get this out of the way, because I don't want to sound like a broken record here and make the same complaints every week. There's too much talking, not enough wrestling, because that's what Raw was. Yeah. I don't want to do it every week because it's not fun. It's not fun for anybody. It's like me. then I feel like I'm emulating Raw too much by just kind of doing the same thing over and over again. And I don't want to do that. I'm going to make this one point, and then I'll move on. Maybe I'll say stuff and pass it about it, and that's it.
Yeah.
One of the primary reason I enjoy watching pro wrestling is that it offers up a means of storytelling that basically no other medium provides. And that's telling stories through movement and action and reaction in a wrestling ring. The closest thing I could think of is maybe like dance, where you could tell a story and elicit emotion through movement.
Yeah, man.
But pro wrestling is different. It's different. Yeah. If I want to watch 2.5 hours of people standing around talking, I'd turn on PBS and watch Masterpiece Theater. You know,
there's some good stuff.
There's some good stuff there. That's just not what I want for my pro wrestling programming. I want wrestling. Yeah, right. I want stories told in the ring. And yeah, sure, you got to have promo bits. You got to have interview bits to enhance the story being told in the ring. But it feels like lately on all WWE product, not just Raw, because there was like 15, 20 minutes of wrestling on SmackDown last week. This is a new thing for Vince. Kind of overall WWE, where they seemingly want to focus so much on developing their stories and characters through all these really long talking bits, and then expect people to tune in for the pay-per-views to watch the actual wrestling. But I kind of feel like if you're trying to sell people on buying pay-per-views to watch the wrestling, then you got to give them some wrestling on your shows too, man. You can't just have 2.5 hours talking. And week after week, it's just frustrating. Even the good stuff gets bogged down in talking because it just makes the show feel so long. Like the Alpha Academy stuff last night, there were some funny bits in it.
I really like that.
There were some entertaining bits in there, but it was just surrounded by so much talking. I'm like, oh my gosh, just give me something going on in the ring, please. It's hard to sit through, even the decent stuff.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with a lot of what you're saying, dude. I don't. It does seem like it's so uneven week to week. Like some weeks we get, an opening segment that will last 45 minutes because they'll have like 30 minutes of wrestling, or 30 minutes including commercials. So like, whatever that is. And this wasn't one of those. To get from minute 0 to minute 30, it was like forever.
Because they had that long opening segment with Becky and Doudrop and Bianca and Liv, and then you had the tag match, but the tag match was like 5 minutes. It was so short. Very long and you jump into more talking. There's Reggie and Dana backstage. There's the KO show with Seth Rollins. Again, I really like the chemistry between Kevin Owens and Seth. It's just too long.
Yeah, there is good stuff there, but you're right. It's just too long. And when it's like back to back to back to back to back talky stuff, it gets really unbearable.
Like really, the structure of Raw of late has been a lot of talking with short 5 to 7 minute matches interspersed, and then for the main event, you might get something decent in like 15 minutes.
Yeah,
and look at this. Sorry, go ahead.
Look at this stretch here where you get like, okay, after Kevin Owens versus Damian Priest, you got the Nikki ASH, a recap and an interview. And mind you, I'm not tracking commercials, so there's like in between all this stuff is commercials.
Yeah.
The Nikki ASH recap and an interview, Alpha Academy graduation, which goes long, Theory going into Vince's office, an extended Martin Luther King thing, and then you have a match, Austin Theory versus Finn Balor, which how long do you think that match was?
It's 5 to 7 minutes. All these
like
matches
5 to 7 minutes. Yeah. And then you're supposed to have, and then you have a Rhea Ripley interview, and then what was supposed to be a Rhea versus Nikki interview match, but Carmella and Zelina came out and talked for, I swear, 5 minutes, and that match didn't even happen. Then you have a Reggie and a Moss match, which isn't even really a match, and then you have a 20-minute Maurice segment. I feel you. I do.
And then you have then after that you have a Street Profits promo with Mysterio's backstage, and then you finally have that match. That's like 7 to 10 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
And then you have more talking. Well, the Lesnar Lashley video package was actually pretty good. I like that quite a bit.
No, so pivoting to the positive, because you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That's just what we're saddled with. I did think that some of the things they did, even though it was talky, a lot of the stuff was pretty decent. I thought the opening segment was completely useless. I thought it was complete. Like, you don't need. I know where Becky's coming from. I know where Doudrop is coming. Like, Doudrop's the only person to have anything interesting because she's new to the main event scene. I know what Bianca's going to say. Liv Morgan has no business being out there in the first place.
I mean, really, some of this is just a matter of staging things differently.
Yeah.
You know, you open the show, or don't you have to open the show? You do some little quick bit backstage where maybe Becky's walking out for the match, and she walks up to the curtain, and Dewdrop's there. They have this little back and forth where Becky just says, "Hey, thanks to me, you're in the main event. Good luck. For listening to me tonight, you'll get another win." And Dewdrop can just say her bit, and that's it. That's all you need.
Yeah.
There's a zero efficiency in how they use their talking bits, because I'm sure part of it is they have to fill 3 hours of TV time.
You know what's funny, dude, is that I don't know if it's this simple. I really don't. Maybe it's not, because we have Zoom and FaceTime and fax machines, I guess. I don't know what Vince uses to communicate with his writers. But Vince was there last night. And if you remember the last time we reviewed a decent Raw, I don't know, it was a couple of weeks ago, maybe it was last week, the report was Vince wasn't there. And I wonder if that just is some of it, is like he thinks that it's like the old Russo thing, where the talky stuff is what draws in his opinion, and the wrestling is secondary to that. Like, who cares about the wrestling, because you've got these personalities and characters and you want to see them talk to each
that's
other.
a whole other conversation, because if you're going to focus on personalities and character, then you have to, there's so much other TV on right now that's actually well produced and well written. Yeah. And if you want to compete with that and use the wrestling ring as a backdrop for the other stories you're telling, then you have to get with the times and upgrade how you present your show. Because if you just have two people talking backstage without motivating that camera, and you have a bunch of talking done in the ring and a bunch of interviews backstage, it just feels like such an archaic presentation, considering what else is available on TV. If that's what he wants to do, fine. Update how you present your programming then.
Speaking of that, I did like the Lashley. That was really good. I don't know why I have Lashley versus Goldberg career retrospective. Lesnar. You got Lashley. I really like that. I'm like, man, I really wish they would do more of that, because it looks expensive.
It does.
It looks high production, and it gives it big fight feel. And it's like, with that kind of stuff, I'm like, man, I kind of understand why Vince likes them big jack dudes. You know, the guys who have legitimate sports backgrounds, and have done actual things beyond WWE. I kind of appreciate that kind of stuff, and I thought that was really, really good. All right, let's take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsor, Factor. You know, Larson?
What?
I'm a busy man. I got going in Raw stuff to do. I got videos for Wrestle Juice. I stream almost every day. Plus, I got to watch at least 11 hours of wrestling every week. That doesn't leave a lot of time for grocery shopping or cooking. But now I'm not worried about meal planning or prep, thanks to Factor.
Yeah, Factor makes it easy to eat clean 24/7 with fresh, never frozen, pre-prepared meals that are ready to eat in 2 minutes, and they're delivered directly to your door. So that means no grocery shopping, no meal prep, no cleanup, and no washing dishes. I can't stand washing dishes.
I can't stand washing dishes either. You know, Factor's got a team of registered dietitians and expert chefs who work together to create delicious meals with nutritious ingredients. Plus, Factor's got variety with more than 27 meal options each week. You'll never get bored.
Factor offers vegan and veggie meals, cold-pressed juices, smoothies, energy bites, extra protein, and plant-based bars, and a lot more to keep you fueled and focused all day long. You get everything you ever wanted when you're dealing with Factor.
So head to go.factor75.com/plans and use code RAW to get $120 off over your first 5 weeks of meals. That's code RAW at go.factor75.com/plans for $120 off. The Ms. Marie stuff was like completely like, you did not need any of that stuff. Although I thought hitting Beth in the head with a brick was pretty extreme.
I mean, it's one of those
Holy
things.
Crap, a brick, really?
We knew that swerve was coming, where
Yeah.
we knew Miz and Maurice were on the same page the whole time. And it's funny to see that she pulls a brick out of her purse.
Yeah.
But there's a way to do that that's a lot more dramatic, I feel like, than, hey, Beth, come to the ring, I need to talk to you.
Yeah.
Smack, I'll hit you with my purse. Like, have that involved in the actual match itself. Like, have Maurice be like hesitant to be involved in that match.
Yeah. What if Beth is like last week? What if she's like, hey, in advance of, I need a tune-up match, Maurice, and I booked a match against you. And then Maurice is all timid to be in the ring, and she puts on some wrestling moves, but Beth is, outgunning her at any opportunity. And then Miz slips her a brick. She annihilates her.
There's ways to do it that heighten the drama and interest in the match.
Yeah.
And then, we say several times, the performers are so good that you're invested in what they do because you appreciate their work. Maurice is outstanding. We say this every week.
She's great.
She's endlessly charming. You put her out there in front of the camera, she's going to do great work. It's so much of WWE, what they do just gets by the strength of the performers as opposed to the content they're given.
Same with the Riddle Alpha Academy stuff. When Gable challenged him to an academic challenge, and it was actually really clever TV. They started they started zooming in on Otis's face and his shock horror. Like, oh shit, I have to do an academic challenge. That sucks. But that was funny.
It was funny, but so much of that segment for Otis felt like a throwback to the Otis of old.
Oh, it did. I know. That's why I liked it, I think.
I know, but the thing is, like, what's it going to be with Otis? Is he going to be a machine, someone who destroys everybody? Or is they going to play that character for laughs? Well,
he was talking with his shoot voice during the speech. It wasn't the laughs bit. I don't know. I don't think it was. Yeah, it kind of was. Like, he started to revert in that moment. But
anyway, I know that moment, and I thought it was funny. But I'm like, this seems out of character for Otis, who he's being presented as now.
It's uncertain as what they want to do. The thing is, Gable's so naturally funny. I thought when he delivered that line about nobody in Tulsa or Oklahoma or whatever, having a master's in anything, let alone graduating high school, let alone getting a master's. He took such, he said it with such revelry, and he was so damn funny. Like, Gable is just naturally a funny guy, and so their stuff just naturally ends up kind of funny. And him and Otis have good chemistry, and so I think that just sort of naturally comes out. But you can kind of tell to a degree that I wonder if Otis is sitting there trying his damnedest not. It's like the Undisputed Era trying their damnedest not to put up the sign now that they're in AEW.
Yeah, he's trying.
It's like Otis is trying his damnedest not to be. Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
which makes me laugh because it's like the old Saturday Night Live stuff.
I mean, even if it's a thing where he is somewhat comedic outside the ring, but once he's in the ring, it's he's serious. That's fine. It's just because we were just saying Otis needs dimension to be more interesting.
Yeah.
And if this is a consistent thing they're going to do, great. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Because it has dimension. That makes him a more interesting character. But if it's just a thing where it's like, well, it's convenient for us to have Otis be silly Otis again for the segment that we never see it again, meh.
Well, yeah, I don't know. That academic challenge, that's gonna be played for last. I'm looking forward to that, to be honest with you. That's gonna be, because Randy's all in on this shit, and I love it because it's got comedy and it's got the actual drama to it. I'm all in on it. I think it's good. And let's go ahead and just kick the recap off. So Becky opens Raw, says we're less than 2 weeks from the Rumble. The Raw Women's Division has never been hotter, and there's one person responsible, me. She said, it's so hot, we've got stars from generations past coming back. We got Lita, Mickie James, the Bellas, all hoping they can win the Rumble to challenge the Van Goat at Mania. She says, you need me, I make stars. Look no further than Doudrop. I've kindly given her the biggest opportunity of her life, a taste of the big time at one of the biggest events of the year. She says, you people weren't clamoring to see her in the title match. She didn't get this match opportunity. I got the opportunity for her. She says, I make people better. And then you know what? I beat them. She says, I do admire her tenacity, though. She came from the rolling hills of Scotland and made a name for herself. She says, oh, wait, she had someone else make a name for her. She says, a Doudrop is never going to be champion as long as I run this division, which, of course, brings Doudrop out. And she straight up says, let me tell you something, Becky Lynch.
Yeah, she did. And then Becky also called Doudrop doo-doo during her promo.
Yeah, I left that out because that was cheesy.
It was cheesy. She says, Doudrop says, you didn't get me anything. I got this title match for myself. But if it really was your plan to face me instead of Bianca, that's the biggest mistake you'll ever make. Just make sure you stay out of my way tonight. Becky says, I got you the victory last week. If you listen to me, I'll get you the victory tonight too.
Yeah, and that brings out Bianca. She says, Becky, you say you're the greatest, but you can't spell greatest without the EST. The crowd starts chanting EST. She says, I'm EST. She says, Doudrop, the only reason you're facing Becky is because Becky's so scared of me she had to interfere in that match. But she's just buying time because I'm officially entering the Royal Rumble match. She said, it's going to be every woman for themselves. So if I got to throw all 29 over the top rope this year like I did last year, so be it, because I'm going to main event WrestleMania again. That brings out Liv Morgan. She says she's entering herself in. She's going to win it. She talks a bunch more, but Doudrop starts snoring, says, boring. Ref, get in here so I could shut them up myself. And then Becky goes over to, this is actually pretty funny. Becky goes over to Liv and Bianca and sort of shoves them both and then runs behind Doudrop. So Doudrop will sort of, protect her. Yeah. And then we get that match. And, for what it was actually a lot of fun. And I loved the finish. The finish was great. So Bianca gets sent out of the ring by Doudrop, who then gets sent out of the ring by Liv. Becky hits a manhandle slam on Liv, but then Doudrop comes over, splashes them both, and then dumps Becky off to try to get the pin on Liv. The ref says, no, you're not legal. So she grabs Becky, drags her to the corner, gets out, tags Becky in, or tags herself in while Becky's still unconscious, goes back in, hits her finish on Liv, wins, and then hits a sitting corner senton on Becky. I thought that was a really good finish.
After that, we had Reggie and Dana backstage. So Reggie's asking Edge and Beth for some advice for his match against Omos. And Edge is like, hey, you've done things I've never seen before. And then Reggie asks him, do I have a chance? And Edge just goes, oh, hell no. And then Beth kind of smacks Edge on the chest. Edge goes, but good luck to you. And so Reggie walks off Beth and tells Dana, hey, happy you're finally wearing some gold. You've been working hard. So Edge and Beth walk away. They walk up to Damian Priest, exchange hugs with him. Priest says, I want to say hi to the Grit couple. Edge says, hey, I've been seeing a different side of you, Damian, and I kind of like it. And Priest says, well, I have this rageful side. Sometimes I can't control it, but I wanted to pick your brain, Edge, about the Rumble. You've won it twice, including once from the #1 spot. No better person to ask for pointers. Edge says, well, of course, your cardio matters, but hey, just keep being you, and you'll be fine. And then off on the side of the frame, Beth is handed a note. She opens it and says, Maurice wants to talk to me in the ring. And Edge goes, that seems suspicious. I'll be out there with you, too. So they leave. Kevin Owens walks up to Priest and says, hey, really looking forward to our match tonight. I'm looking forward to going out there and having a good, clean match. But more importantly, the side where Priest starts going nuts, I don't think I want to see that side. I don't think it should come out. I'm looking forward to having a good, clean match.
Yeah.
But I got to go because I got to make an announcement.
Yeah.
Of course, Priest is like, no, you're lying. You're lying.
Yeah.
You're lying.
So we get the Kevin Owens show after that. He says, I'd like to say I'm happy to be here in Tulsa, but that would be a lie because this place is brutal. He said, I'm an honest man. Don't yell at me. I'm just being honest about this place. She said he starts putting over his best friend, Seth Rollins. He comes out. And Kevin Owens says, hey, what do you want to do? You want to sit down? You want to stand up? He's like, let's stand up. They really do have terrific chemistry watching these two very different characters, but with a lot of history, form a bond here. Kevin says, from the heart, I admire you so much. There's so much I admire about you. The suits, the detail, the minutia in these seats. You look marvelous. He says, that's a French phrase. He says, but I admire your courage even more. The guts it took to walk into the Lion's Den on SmackDown, to get face-to-face, to berate Roman. The guy that calls himself the head of the table, you told him you are the guy that set the table. And Seth is like, that's right. He says, Friday night it got a little testy, but the truth is Roman's rattled, nervous, he's scared. And Kevin Owens like, yeah, he's scared. And so Seth says, Roman took the low road. He took shots at my family, but Roman is playing checkers. I'm playing chess. He says, beating him at the Rumble is going to be like taking candy from a baby. And when I beat him, I'm going to take that title back to Raw. I'm going to turn the blue to red. And Kevin Owens like, oh, that's huge news right there. That's huge news. We can just get rid of Brock and Bobby Lashley. We don't need those guys as champions here. And Owens says, well, I've got some major news too. He says some groundbreaking news. Nobody's ever done this. He's like, I'm officially declaring myself for the Royal Rumble match. And Seth says, whoa, groundbreaking. I can feel the tremors. And Kevin Owens says, once I win, he says, we get to give the WWE Universe the match they deserve. Well, they don't deserve it, but we're going to do it anyways. The biggest Mania main event of all time. And Seth's all about it. He's like, oh, I like where you're coming with this. Yeah. So Damian Priest interrupts. And Seth yells at Priest.
Yeah. So, they're interrupted by Priest. Seth is like, hey, this is our time. If getting closer, Kevin Owens will go out there and kick your ass. And Priest tells Seth to shut his mouth, calls them both delusional idiots. tells Seth there's not one person on this planet who believes that he can beat Roman Reigns. He says, Damian Priest says, Kevin Owens is just a liar. No one believes that you can win the Rumble. But to be clear, if Kevin Owens doesn't want to see the Damian in him tonight, he says, I suggest you don't wake him up. And by the way, I just spoke to Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville. Our match starts right now.
Ooh.
But doesn't start right now because we get a Veer is Coming video package.
We get Veer is Coming. He's back to coming. He had his refractory period. Now he's coming again. So we had Kevin Owens versus Damian Priest. And, we almost got the Damian side with some chops. And then Kevin Owens hits a big splash on the outside as Raw rolls on. The finish saw a bunch of countering of different moves. Priest does hit South of Heaven for 2.
Man, that chokeslam was humongous.
It was a big-ass chokeslam right there. But Owens starts playing like he's got a bad hamstring. He's got like an injured hamstring. Everybody's checking on him, and Priest is like, what the heck? He comes over, but he just got suckered into a stunner for 3. Kevin Owens picks up the win and leaves pretty quickly after that.
Yeah, you'd assume U.S. title opportunity after that. Then we got a Nikki ASH interview. She's asked, what's your plan for your match tonight against Rhea? And Nikki says, my plan is no different than any other time. I'm about to compete. It's clear to me now that I stand on my own, and I couldn't feel any better. Rhea, though, she should be down and out. She should be mortified after proving that she wasn't the friend that I thought she was going to be. She says, Rhea is the one who broke up our team. She was the one who decided to take their friendship and flush it down the toilet. She is the villain in all this. And she is Nikki says, I'm the closest people in Tulsa will ever be to having a superhero, and at this time they'll appreciate her as the people's hero. And sometimes heroes have to do things that regular people don't understand. And after tonight, Rhea will realize that she needs a superhero, whether she likes it or not.
Ooh. After that, we had the Alpha Academy graduation ceremony. They come out in cap and gown and the titles. Gable talks a bit about getting a 4-point masters with a 4.0. The crowd boos.
Don't boo education. Legitimate. That's gross.
Oh, come on, people. Don't boo education. That's gross. He sounded so legitimate when he said that.
I know.
He said, but it makes sense because the odds of anyone in Oklahoma graduating high school, let alone getting a master's, is slim to none. He says, tonight's about celebration, not just an institution, but a person. I could go on about my accomplishments, the list of which is long. But tonight isn't about me. I'm referring to my #1 guy, Otis. He says, I'm proud of you. Last week, Otis applied the master's lessons and claimed our prize, our rightful spot as tag champions. So tonight, I present to you Otis, who has a last name we may not know. It's Dozovich. We all know
it's been established. It's been established.
So Otis steps up. He says, you've helped me reach my full potential. Oh, yeah. You've helped me reach my full potential, my peach. He says, no. He says, but now expect pure carnage to anyone who tries to stop us. We ain't stopping. We ain't never going to stop. And then that brings out Riddle.
Bro, so he's like, hey, what's up? Hey, Otis, you look pretty tight in that cap and gown. He says, when I got invited to the ceremony, I knew I had to come down and make a special speech. So he has a cap and gown on, too. He pulls it up and pulls a napkin out from the leg of his tights and says, I wrote this morning at the breakfast buffet. He starts to read. He says, felt just like last week that Randy and I were tag champs. We were living on the edge. We were just a couple of young stallions running free, but today is graduation day, and their lives will change forever. Randy always said life comes at you fast, and Gable interrupts and asks Riddle what he's babbling on about. Why are you here? You weren't invited. Be on your way. So Riddle tells Gable, take it easy. I'm out here to say how proud I am of you, and there are astronomical next. See, I know long words. And Gable says, Riddle, you ruined the greatest night of Otis's life. I assume you're here to ask for rematch. Can you even define what the word rematch is? And Riddle says, I can. It's like when you have to light something up twice.
That popped the crowd pretty good.
It did. And Riddle says, rematch sounds like a pretty sick idea. Gable wonders where your partner is. But lucky for you, we'll give you your rematch after you prove your mental aptitude in an Alpha Academy Academic Challenge. RK Bro versus American Alpha in a series of tests to prove who is the mentally superior team. And Gable says, let's face it, we already showed who the physically superior team is.
And while he's talking about the academic challenge, that's when they're doing a close-up on Otis, and he's like,
yeah.
He just looks terrified. It was pretty funny.
It was pretty funny. So Riddle's talking a bunch of nonsense, and he eventually compares Chad Gable to a jacked hamster. And Gable sends Otis to take out Riddle. And while he's making his way down to take out Riddle, Orton gets in the ring, hits Gable with an RKO. Otis runs back in the ring, gets on the apron. Riddle hits what I could best call like a running, jumping knee.
Yeah, I think that's what it was supposed to be, but it looked sloppy.
It did, so Otis tumbles off the apron. Riddle gets in the ring, helps Orton put on Otis's graduation gown. Orton grabs the mic, accepts. I love how Chad Gable was selling that RKO up the ramp because he's standing there and just falls, just collapses.
Yeah. It
was pretty fun.
It was good. Yeah. No, they're doing really good work. They are doing really good work. So after that, oh man. So Austin Theory comes into Vince's office. This is just fucking weird.
It is
weird. Not like in a cool David.
No,
Lynch.
I did appreciate how Austin Theory, a couple points, was like his reaction to the weird shit Vince was saying was pretty funny.
He's doing the best he can. And yeah, he's gifted as hell.
Sort of like when he said it's almost like a half victory and Vince glares at me and just goes, no. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. No, he's absolutely adopted the stuff that he picked up in NXT doing the way to his character now.
Yeah.
Like it's sort of a combination. And it's really good stuff. It's unfortunately, you got this weird Vince shit going on. So he comes into Vince's office and they're replaying what happened last week or a couple weeks ago with Finn and Theory. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, what are you watching? He's like, I watched it last time Finn was here. And he was like, yeah. He was like, I did pretty good. He was like, you lost. He was like, well, it was like a half loss. I half won because, I beat him up so bad afterwards. He was like, there's no thing as a half victory. If you lose tonight, I'm going to have you dragged in here. I'm going to take out my equalizer and beat every small bone and big bone in your body. And then I'm going to move on to your face. I'm going to leave nothing but spit, blood, and bone.
Snot.
And I'm going to sit those...
It's snot.
It's snot, yeah, snot. Then I'm going to send those bits to your mom. Austin Theory's like, what the fuck?
Wait, so I'm going to take a selfie.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to get my phone, I'm going to take a selfie and send that to your mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just confusing.
It's just weird. And he's like, yeah, that weird, awkward, plasticky, leathery, melty smile on his face. Weird shit that he does. I don't know, man. I'm over it.
It's not good. It's not good. So let me get Finn versus Austin Theory.
Hold on, wait a second. Jonah, this is why WWE just can't get their viewership to like long term go up. Jonah says, my girlfriend always gets drawn into the worst segments. I watch while she does her homework, and she looked up. That's because I know exactly what he's talking about because that happens with me with Lacey all the time. I watch while she's doing her homework, and she looked up during the Vince Theory segment. Was like, God, that was torture. Yeah, exactly. It's like you have opportunities to bring people in. You got to assume that they're flipping around or they're on their phone and they have an opportunity to see your stuff. And if at that time it's this weird shit, they're not going to be into it. They're not. They're going to be like, this is weird.
You notice these Vince Austin Theory segments are the only one they try to shoot with like coverage and stuff from various angles.
Yeah, totally.
And it feels so jarring within the context of the rest of the show.
Because it should be one camera.
Because we're so used to the one unmotivated single camera there. It just happens to be in the room.
I know. It's so weird. They have no idea.
I don't get it. Anyway, so yeah, we had Finn versus Theory next. Finish this. Finn reverse an ATL into a roll up that gets him a 2. Finn hits an enziguri. He goes up top for a coup de grace. Theory evades that. Hits Finn with a rolling drop kick. Then hits ATL for the win. Clean win for Austin Theory. Yeah. Theory gets his phone, takes a selfie, starts beating up Finn some more, and then hits him with another ATL.
The dude that used to be a writer for WWE, Kazim. How do you pronounce it? Do you know how you pronounce his last name? Famuyide?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I don't know how you pronounce it. I apologize. I love this though because they did before this. They had the MLK video. He said, one of my personal favorite WWE moments is playing the annual MLK video tribute at the production meeting and Vince getting up mad proudly and saying, "Get up and clap, goddammit." He said to provide proper context, they used to play every one of those dope video packages that open big shows at the beginning of meetings, and Vince would no-sell every one of them except for 2, tribute to the troops and MLK. Get up and clap, damn it. Could you imagine working for that guy? Oh, he's fucking nuts, dude. He's nuts. So yeah, and people have noted that, was this like a response, the Vince thing, was that a response to the gory self-mutilation?
Oh, I don't know.
thing?
That's a good. Yeah, I know. Just a couple days ago, the statement about
AEW.
The AEW. Yeah, I don't know. You criticize AEW for being gory, and then you have Vince, like, in very vivid detail, describe beating up Austin Theory with an equalizer.
Yeah. Get up and clap, damn it.
Then we had
clap.
We had a Rhea Ripley interview next. She says, I never intended on ruining my friendship with Nikki. They could have remained friends to support each other through our solo careers, but Nikki made up her mind. She says, I'm not one to forgive very easily, but what kind of hero attacks their friend? If Nikki thinks that I'm the villain, she's more delirious than I thought. So tonight, I'm going to have to go out and remind everybody, including Nikki, who Rhea Ripley really is.
And then we're supposed to have that, Rhea versus Nikki. They both get to the ring, but then Carmella and Zelina come out first. And my God, they talked so long.
It didn't say anything.
They said it was mainly directed. And I'm not going to recap this, and I'm not going to look at your notes to recap it. It was basically a promo directed at Rhea.
Saying, I told you so. That was it.
Saying, I told you so. That's it. I'm not going to give this time. I'm not. It was so brutal.
They literally just could have come out and said, hey, Rhea, we told you so.
I really like Carmella and Zelina. I think they're both terrific. I really do. I think they're great. And hats off, and I really do appreciate the detail they put in their stuff, in their work, where Zelina will have the British accent until she needs to punctuate something. I love that. But my God, they just gave them a fucking Bible's worth of information to read. And it's obnoxious. And it's like, why are they talking? So all this talking is happening as they're wrapping up. Rhea, who is clearly just like, lost in whatever they're talking about, gets distracted by it. Nikki pounces before there's even a bell. She beats the crap out of Rhea, goes down outside. She sends Rhea into the ring steps on the floor, and then walks away and raises her hand. There wasn't even a match here.
No.
Didn't happen.
Didn't happen. You thought there was going to be a match. You were wrong.
Yeah.
So we go backstage, and Dana and Reggie are talking. And behind, Dana's kind of giving Reggie a bit of a pep talk in advance of his match with Omos. And behind them, you have Truth, Tozawa, Tamina, and a ref sitting in looks like some removable stands, some chairs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're all eating popcorn. Reggie's talking about a strategy. I'm going to use Omos's height against them, exhaust him. He says, I got this. Oh, who am I kidding? I ran to him last week at full speed and bounced off him like he was a brick wall. And Dana says, Reggie, you're the most capable man I know. Just stay away from him. They leave. And then Truth says, Dana must not like Reggie because she just told him to go get got.
Yeah. Yeah. And he does get got, because after that we have Reggie versus Omos. Before anything really happens in the match, the 24/7 division comes running through, distracting Omos. When he sort of realizes what's going on, Reggie takes the opportunity to come off the top, try to attack him with a crossbody. Omos catches him, hits his finish, steps on him for the pin and the win.
That's it. It's like 90 seconds.
It's if that, yeah. So then we get Maurice in the ring. She says, my husband, Michael, can't be here. Says, we all know he has, I'm not going to do the entire thing in her voice. Says, as we all know, he has a big mouth and agrees to things without asking me first. Says, Beth, please come out here alone so we can talk woman to woman, face to face, mother to mother. Beth and Edge both come out. She says, can you just stand there, please, while I say my bit? She says, the match of the Royal Rumble, it has to be canceled. Beth says, all right, this got to be good, or this ought to be good. I'm all ears. Marie says, I don't want it. You don't want it. They don't want it. Crowd's like into it. She's like, come on, I love how she plays with the crowd. She's so good. So I'm trying to have a heartfelt moment here. Can you help me? Really? Really? She does the Miz bit, which is pretty funny. She says, understand that I have a microphone and I can be louder than every one of you. She goes back to Beth. She says, Beth, hear me out. We come from the same generation, fought the same battles. She says, remember when we used to have 2-minute matches? She says, Beth, we made the women's division what it is today. Look at us. Women main event WrestleMania these days because of our work. If anything, I think we should be on the same team. We should be friends, best friends. Our little girls should be friends. We should have coffee and talk this out later. Beth says, would you just shut up? I'm not buying it. You obviously need acting lessons from your husband. Our match is not off. I'm not missing the opportunity to tag with my husband for the first time ever, and I'm not missing the chance to glam slam your ass through that canvas. She says, hey, let's give him a preview. Beth approaches. She gets in. Miz attacks Edge down there on the floor. And while Beth gets distracted by that, Maurice hits Beth on the back of her head with her purse. But Beth just collapses. Mm-hmm. And so Maurice leaves. Her and Miz start celebrating up on the stage, and they open up the purse, and there's a legit brick in there.
Yeah.
And then they celebrate up on the stage.
Yep.
So, yeah. I thought, like you said, dude, like it's a solid idea, the brick thing. But it really could have been executed within the confines. And I think it could have been executed a lot better within the confines of a wrestling match. Yep. Because you get, number one, the excitement of, oh, hey, two people we haven't seen, go at it in like 10 years or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's kind of a cool opportunity. That's something that people would buy into. And you can tell the same story, but within the confines of a wrestling match, which, like you said, that's what we're here for.
I know.
We're not here for just people talking.
No, certainly not. We get more talking next. Street Profits promo. Ford and Dawkins are talking about a plan they have for their match tonight. They describe this 8-man tag match as a mini Royal Rumble. And Ford talked about how they're going to be throwing people over the top rope at the Royal Rumble. Dawkins says, well, you're going to toss me over the top rope. Ray and Dom step in. Ray tells Dawkins not to worry about that. Says, we're excited to be part of your team tonight and being a part of the Rumble this year. And he says he and Dom are going to outlast 29 other men in the Rumble. And Dom says, yes, we're going to take the Mysterio name back to the main event of WrestleMania. Montez says, with all due respect, that's if they make it there first.
Yes. Yeah, I like that Corey Graves is bringing up the idea that he was like, well, the Mysterios are going to both eliminate 29 men. That doesn't mathematically make any sense.
Math doesn't work, no.
It was pretty funny.
No. Yeah, it was pretty
after
funny.
that, we had the Dirty Dogs, Cruz and Aziz versus the Mysterios and the Prophets. Ray and Walter lay out Aziz on the outside towards the finish, and Dawkins gets the tag to Ford for just another insane frog splash. I swear, I don't know how he does this. It's like higher and higher every single time.
Yeah.
They get the win. After the match, was a fun little bit where the Mysterios throw the Prophets over, and then Ray throws Walter over, and Dom there is thoroughly amused. They're all laughing about it.
Yeah, they're all laughing. This is all
having a good old time.
Everybody's being a good sport about it until the Rumble actually happens, and then things will get a little testy.
Yeah,
a little chippy. Then we had that great Lesnar-Lashley video package. They did a really good job of showing, in terms of their athletic careers leading to this point, they kind of were on parallel paths. Highly decorated amateur wrestlers. Of course, Brock going to University of Minnesota. Lashley being an NAIA two-time national champion. Brock going to WWE. Lashley going to the military. They both did MMA. Finally, after all these years, they're colliding. They did a great job of setting up that narrative. It's really well done. Really well done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was really good. After that, we had a quick Miz and Maurice interview. Miz said next week he's going to throw a birthday party for Maurice. Then we had Alexa Bliss's second episode of the Journey Back to Raw. Doctor says, I can't tolerate the same thing that happened last week. He says, if we go through this, I promise you in no time you'll be on the road to recovery. He wants to do word association. And he throws out a bunch of words into every single thing he throws out. She responds with Lily. He says trust. She says Lily. He says friend, home, doll. She says Lily to all of them. And then he says imaginary. And then she gets up all mad. And the doc says, okay, our time is up. So,
yeah. Then we get our main event, Bob Lashley versus Seth Rollins. This is a fun main event. You knew, however, this was going to end in a DQ because they both have title matches at the Rumble. Neither of them are going to take a loss in advance of this. So Seth is working over Lashley's leg quite extensively. Eventually, though, Lashley starts hitting some offense, hits a Dominator, gets a 2. He's looking for a spear. Instead, he runs into a knee from Seth. Seth follows with an elbow, a pedigree that gets him a 2 count. Lashley hits this great look at like overhead belly to belly off the second rope. And Cedric and Shelton run down, pull Lashley out of the ring, attack him. Ref calls for the bell. They ram Lashley into the ring post. They're looking for a double suplex on him. Instead, Lashley reverses that, suplexing both of them on his own. He hits Shelton with a flatliner on the floor, rams Cedric into the ring post, and then spears Shelton through the barricade. Seth is just like trying to take this all in. Because at first he's watching Lashley get attacked. He's kind of like, no, almost like, this isn't cool. But then he's marveling at Lashley coming back from all this. And he's completely unaware that the Usos have run in through the crowd. They're in the ring. He finally turns around. Bang, he stereo super kicks.
Yeah. I thought that, let me ask you something. Rollins versus Roman. Do you think they have an idea as to like face versus heel thing? What's that supposed to be? Is Rollins supposed to be the face there?
I think so.
The crowd is really they're really warming up to Rollins, like big time. We kind of figured this was going to happen.
Yeah, he's doing really good work. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
I think it would have been more interesting to actually have a finish aided by the Usos, where Lashley maybe is down, the ref is distracted by something, Usos come in, super kick to Rollins, maybe two of them, maybe like two stereo super kicks, so 4 altogether, 4 feet hitting his head.
Yeah.
Lashley comes in, is able to, get the spear, dominate or whatever, and he actually pins Rollins. Because if they're going to, I feel like with Lesnar, it's not as cut and dry. I think that everybody, I don't know if Lesnar, Lashley, no matter who you're fighting, if you're fighting Lesnar, you're an underdog. I feel like Lashley is the underdog going to this. They can do these great promos, but it's Lesnar. Come on. So with Lashley, you don't want to see him get beat before Lesnar. I feel like you can do that with Rollins if it's like the Usos, because then Roman can say, hey, I can beat you. And I feel that does add something to the match going forward. Yeah. Obviously, they don't want to do it because of what we saw last night, but I thought that could have been a way they could have been.
Yeah, that could have been. That could have been. It's a reminder that the odds are stacked against Seth going into that bout because the Usos.
And if he's the face in that match, which I think he kind of is.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
You want to answer a few questions? Yeah.
I think that'd be great.
All right. We got a sub here from Solid Nano. Thank you so much.
By the way, we do have some new patrons. Want to give them some love. Just today, David Lay, a new patron. Thank you very much, David. We appreciate it. Lucy Morningstar. What a great name that is. Save Me Jeebus X is a new patron. And Shantae Evans, also new patron. A week ago, Clint McCurley. So thank you very much for your support. We appreciate it. All those people get the Going in Raw ad-free in the audio realm. They get the new weekly newsletter, the Kip Up, where you can keep up with wrestling every single week. We got match results, news, our take on all that stuff, Friendoverse news, what's going on in our neck of the woods with our predictions and whatnot. Every single week you get a new issue. So if you can't keep up with wrestling, you can get the Kip Up newsletter, and you can keep up that way. So, and you get that $5 a month on the Patreon, patreon.com/Steven Larson, bonus content, voting on numbers don't lie, all that stuff there. So thanks very much for the support. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Let's take a look at some of these questions here. Here we go. We've got Wolfpack for Life says, did you see Alexa Bliss sold more merchandise than anyone on the current roster, including people like Roman Reigns in 2021? He says the only person that sold more than her was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I saw some people say that I saw that thing, but also saw some people say that might not be exactly credible.
Okay. If it was credible, it wouldn't shock me if she... It wouldn't shock me if she sold a shit ton of merchandise, regardless of where she fell on sort of the charts.
Yeah.
Number one, she always has really good looking merchandise. Whoever designs her stuff does a killer job. Like that stuff that could be in like Hot Topic and I wouldn't know who it is and be like, oh, that looks really good. And then number two, she has a very, like, of all the people that we talk about in the world of wrestling, she has the most offensive fans. Like there will be people in our comments across all platforms that has her face as the avatar and like literally Alexa Bliss fan account. There are many of those out there. She has a very passionate fan base. So if there is any element of truth, it wouldn't shock me at all.
Yeah, apparently it's there's no truth to it. So.
if it's not true, then whatever, but it still wouldn't shock me.
Papa Morris asks, will we see Asuka in the Rumble this year? If she's cleared, medically cleared, I hope so.
I really hope so. I know.
I miss Asuka. She's outstanding.
They've got this. I'm on WWEshop.com right now. They've got this the newest Brock Lesnar Suplex City shirt. This black and white one. You can customize it so that your city name is there at the bottom.
Wow.
You know, can you put something like gnarly, like, you know,
Hell, Michigan.
I was thinking like something fake. Isn't Hell, Michigan a real thing?
Yeah, that's a real city.
Yeah. Saying like, you know, Fucksville. Suplex City, Fucksville, California. Anyways, let's see here. The mayor of Planet Houston. What does having Mickie James in the Women's Royal Rumble do for the Impact Knockouts World Championship? Does it devalue the title because Mickie would rather compete and try to win a better title from WWE? No, because she's trying to be a belt collector.
Yeah. And
it arguably, like if she's able to go to Mania and win the women's title and be Impact champion, that just means that the Knockouts champion is like the man, right?
Yeah. I mean, without Mickie being under contract with WWE, the only avenue by which that she could contend for a WWE Women's title is winning the Rumble. You know? That's the idea. So, no, I don't think it devalues the Knockouts title. I mean, I think the whole idea is that it elevates it because she's in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
I think
their total viewership devalues the title. Getting 70,000 people to watch her show. No, I love Impact. I think they're great viewership, regardless. I do appreciate, though, that the mayor of Planet Houston within this question is digging through history for some context. He says Shane Douglas didn't go back to the NWA to compete for the NWA World Heavyweight title anymore. He said no, the ECW championship was bigger and better. Remember that?
Yeah.
He threw it down.
He threw it in the garbage.
He said
or threw it down.
Like this is. I think he just threw it down.
He did just throw it down.
You get the two mixed up. So I like in my head too. I sort of think of him putting it in the garbage.
I mean, if there's a garbage can in the ring, he probably would have thrown it in the ring.
Yeah,
but there wasn't. Yeah. King CDM, hypothetically, if Finn were to leave, would you want to see Finn in Impact, AEW, New Japan, or GCW? How would you debut him in that promotion?
New Japan. Have him put an end to all this weird Bullet. He comes in and he's there to clean up Bullet Club. I'm the new cleaner. All right, House of Torture, you're out.
Yeah.
That's first business. Jay White, you're cool. Tamatanga, Tongaloa, you're cool.
Kenta.
Fale, you're cool.
Kenta's cool.
Kenta, you're cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, House of Torture. Well, Show. He can keep Show.
Yeah, Show's good.
Show's on probation. Showbation. That's what he's on.
God damn.
Because he mingled with House of Torture.
I know, but he's relatively new to the whole Bullet Club.
What about Dick Togo?
I mean, honestly, I'm a bit conflicted. Because with Dick Togo comes evil, and
I know. Great question though. But is it New Japan for you as well?
Probably.
It's too many people in AEW.
Yeah,
they got to relieve some of that pressure.
I know.
Let's see here. Xavier Gray with two good questions. Why is WWE Creative trying to punk us by not having an actual match between Rhea Ripley and Nikki Cross last night? They're trying to build heat for that match.
They're doing it for the heat.
They're doing it for the heat, Mr. Gray.
Little do they know that 10 minutes of talking before a beatdown so you don't get the match doesn't elicit the heat that they want.
It's not quite. It's not actual heat, man.
It's no heat. This feud actually has no heat. That's their attempt to get heat, but there's actually no heat.
He also says, what do you think the chances are that Naomi's rematch against Charlotte Flair is going to end in a DQ finish this Friday?
There's going to be some weird finish again. So I'm telling you, Sonya's going to cost Naomi the Royal Rumble. Naomi could very well win the whole thing, and Sonya's like, no, doesn't count. That's heat.
I would love for them to do like a big story where Charlotte wins because of that, what you're saying. And then Charlotte, in her hubris, chooses Naomi, or Naomi has to go through some sort of thing.
Exactly, and gets the Mania match, and she wins at Mania, yeah.
And she wins. I'm telling you, man, you've seen the interviews. Charlotte, all of her interviews, she talks up Naomi so much, as like, you know, outside of character. How awesome would it be? I wonder if there's like a little bit of like, oh, Becky's like trying to make a star out of Bianca. I want to make a star out of somebody. I like Trinity. I'm gonna make her a star.
I don't know.
That'd be cool. Do it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Have Naomi win at WrestleMania. That'd be
right.
Great.
Do it. Right.
Yeah, do it. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do it. Has our seal of approval.
Well, I guess here's the thing. You could have Naomi actually win the Rumble. Sonya says, nope, doesn't count. Restart it. Charlotte wins. And Naomi has to go through the process to get in the match with Charlotte. And part of that is she finally gets her one-on-one match with Sonya and wins that.
Oh,
and that's how she gets her title shot.
The problem here is that we just booked it perfectly.
They won't do it that way.
So it's not going to happen.
Not going to happen. It'll probably be Naomi and Sonya at WrestleMania. And Charlotte will defend against somebody else.
Hey, that's a good match, though. Hey, if they get Sonya and Naomi gets a WrestleMania match. In any event, it seems like they're doing cool. Like, you know, I know that they're prolonging this feud, but like Naomi, this is a big deal. This is a cool spot for her. I like this story. Let's see here. Jeremiah Price, what Raw superstar do you think would be the best fit for each of these reality competition shows? First up, are you smarter than a fifth grader? Chad Gable.
Yeah.
Survivor. It would have been Morrison.
Oh, it's Eric of the Viking Raiders. He's not on Raw. He's on SmackDown, but still.
Okay. Amazing Race. Gotta be very clever.
Seth,
yeah, that's good.
It's the architect.
Hell's Kitchen.
Who
could Baron? It'd be Baron.
Yeah.
And Big Brother.
Ooh, actually Seth for that one. No, Kevin Owens. Yeah. Kevin Owens would be good for Big Brother.
That's good. That's good. I like that. On which show? He also asked, on what show do you think you'd fare the best on out of all these? I think I'd do relatively well on Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
Yeah, by a trivia.
Probably that. Big Brother, I don't want to live with anybody.
Yeah.
Survivor, I'd be miserable. I would be terrible at Survivor.
I know. I'd be like, one night, all right, I'm ready to go home.
Yeah, I'd be like, bring in the helicopter.
Just get me
Amazing Race would be fun, but I don't know if I'd do well on it. Because you don't actually, there's not a whole lot of actual running involved. It's just you go place to place, and they like to film a lot of running, but like it's mainly just
mostly
figuring
you're doing
shit out.
These challenges.
I think you and I would do pretty well in Amazing Race.
We could.
I think if we put our heads together, we do pretty well.
Yeah.
Oh God, Alex Foster. If Vince was the speaker at a graduation ceremony, what would his speech be like? Incoherent.
Yeah.
Confusing.
You go out in the real world, you gotta expect the unexpected.
Yeah. The pencil's not the important part. It's the eraser.
Everybody's like, what the hell is this? What the hell is
like,
going on?
Is there a
about?
problem with his microphone? Can you clear this up a little bit? Sounds like his vocal cords are in a washing machine right now.
Yeah, they sound like they're shredded.
Yeah. Let's see here. George Calloway wants to know, historical, what's the first piece of wrestling merch you owned?
Wow, the first piece?
Yeah.
Well, if we take toys out of it, I guess not. Those giant 80s WWE wrestling figures, the ones that were like that tall. I had a bunch of those, and I had some of the thumb wrestlers. Those are the first, I guess, memorabilia. That's the first thing I had. I had like the 4 or 6 pack of the little thumb wrestlers.
Oh, wow. Jeremiah says, you say that, Steve, but in the first episode of The Amazing Race this season, the first challenge was a bunch of running, and people were struggling. I thought it was like more of a scavenger hunt thing. I didn't think you'd actually have to run.
Well, there's like challenges you have to do and then move on to the next challenge, yeah.
I just wouldn't want to do anything from like high up. Like, oh, you have to now rappel down this thing.
No, I don't do heights. No, not going to happen. I'd say quit. After those toys, though, I think the first thing I got as like an adult is I bought the first Kurt Angle shirt.
Oh, wow.
Off Shop Zone.
You got stuff before Kurt Angle was around in like 97, 98.
Oh, did I? Oh.
Had to have.
You're right. You're right. I did. Yeah. I did. I remember that's like the first thing I bought off Shop Zone.
I remember.
I did get a Wolfpack shirt at a WCW house show. I forgot about that.
That's awesome. The first thing I remember was the Hogan shirt. Like in 98.
Yeah, I remember that
Hogan shirt. It was a good looking Hogan shirt too, but it's Hogan. Not exactly proud of it, but again, I'm the guy who, when I was 5, had a Dukes of Hazzard big wheel with flag. You know that flag. It's up and down my neighborhood. Little 5-year-old's canceled, man. It's canceled. Let's see here. David, we'll end on this one. David Matushak. Do you think there's a connection between the Veer vignettes and Elias going missing? I the answer is clearly.
I think the only
no,
connection is that in both cases, Vince has no idea what he wants to do with either of those talents.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Oh, that's a favorite customer. So Elias died. We know that Elias died, but then Veer, maybe Elias has been reincarnated into Veer.
Well, he said he buried Elias. Did he say Elias is dead, long live Elias?
Wasn't there like a tombstone? Wasn't there a tombstone there with Elias's name on it?
Yeah.
I think that, his appearance there was in the spectral form. Then he went on a journey, an excursion to find a body. That body is Veer. Because Veer Mahan, you can rearrange the letters to spell Elias. Think about that.
Can't.
Anyways, thanks everybody for tuning
necessary
in. We
letters
appreciate
missing
it.
from that.
Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
I might do an NXT 2.0 watch along tonight at MF Steve here. We'll see.
Bye, everybody.